Well, folks, the white smoke has risen, the Swiss Guard have finished their synchronized interpretive dance of welcoming a new pontiff, and the Catholic Church has themselves a brand new pope. That's right, after much anticipation and speculation, the College of Cardinals has finally made their choice, selecting someone who, let's be honest, none of us had on our bingo cards. Cardinal, previous name, now known as Pope Leo XIV. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who? And to that, I say fair enough. But before we dive into the fascinating, and I promise you, it is surprisingly fascinating, backstory of the man who now holds the keys to the Vatican gift shop, let's just take a moment to appreciate the significance of this moment. This isn't just some ceremonial changing of the guard, this is a big freaking deal. The Pope, as you may know, is more than just the head of the Catholic Church. He's a global figure, a spiritual leader to over 1 billion people worldwide. His words carry weight, his actions have consequences, and his hat collection is, frankly, something to behold. So, yeah, new Pope, new era, whole lot to unpack. Let's get into it. So, who is this mystery man who now gets to wear the Pope hat? Well, buckle up, because we're about to take a deep dive into the life and times of Pope Leo IV. Born, birth name, in the quaint, unassuming towns of birthplace, young birth name wasn't exactly born with a silver chalice in his hand. No, this future Pope's upbringing was, dare I say, surprisingly normal. Growing up in described hometown with number siblings, birth name's childhood was probably a lot like yours or mine, filled with mentioned childhood activities, awkward school plays, and the crushing realization that Santa Claus is in fact just your dad with a pillow strapped to his belly. Okay, maybe not exactly like yours or mine. But look, the point is, there was no divine spotlight shining down on young birth name, no burning bush whispering prophecies of papal greatness, just a described childhood personality kid from a described family background. Family, navigating the ups and downs of childhood in a world that frankly had no idea he was destined to one day lead the Catholic Church. Now I know what you're thinking, John, this is boring. When does the Pope stuff happen? And to that I say, patience, my friend. Because trust me, the road to the papacy is rarely paved with gold-plated prayer books and frankincense-scented candles. It's a journey filled with twists, turns, and the occasional theological debate that could make your head spin. But before we get to all that good stuff, let's rewind a bit, back to birth name's early years, where his story truly begins. It was in these seemingly ordinary moments, however, that the seeds of faith were sown. Young birth name's upbringing, while not particularly extraordinary, instilled in him a deep sense of compassion, a love for his fellow man, and perhaps most importantly, a healthy dose of humility, qualities that would serve him well on the path that lay ahead. Little did he know, however, just how far that path would lead. Now, I'm not a religious scholar, folks. In fact, the closest I get to organized religion is occasionally wandering into a cathedral to admire the architecture, and maybe snag a free biscuit from the nice old ladies handing them out after Mass, but even I can appreciate the fact that becoming Pope isn't exactly like applying for a job. There's no resume to polish, no LinkedIn profile to spruce up, and definitely no cover letter where you try to explain that your experience leading a team of highly caffeinated baristas totally translates to shepherding the souls of over 1 billion people. No, the path to the papacy is a long and winding one, often beginning in the hallowed halls of the seminary. And future Pope Leo XIV's name's journey was no exception. Now, seminary life isn't for the faint of heart. It's years of rigorous study, intense theological debate, and I'm assuming a distinct lack of decent pizza options. But it was within these hallowed halls that future Pope Leo XIV's name's intellect and unwavering faith truly began to flourish. But it wasn't all just dusty books and theological dissertations. Oh no, future Pope Leo XIV's name's journey also took him outside the seminary walls, into the heart of communities in need. These experiences, though seemingly small, would shape his understanding of the Church's role in the world and sow the seeds of his vision for a more inclusive and compassionate faith. Little did he know, however, that his journey was far from over. Chapter 3. The Pope of the People, unveiling the man behind the mitre. Okay, let's be real. For a lot of us, the inner workings of the Vatican might as well be happening on another planet. It's this whole world of cardinals in fancy hats, ancient rituals, and enough Latin to make your head spin. But beneath all the pomp and circumstance, there's a real person in there. And in the case of Pope Leo XIV, that person is, dare I say, surprisingly relatable. For starters, did you know that the Pope is a massive mention, hobby or interest? Like seriously, the man loves expand on hobby or interest. In fact, rumor has it that one of the first things he did after settling into the papal apartments was humorous anecdote related to hobby or interest. And it doesn't stop there. Pope Leo XIV is also a bit of a mention another unexpected trait or interest. I'm talking elaborate on trait or interest. Word on the street is that he even share a specific anecdote or story that illustrates this trait or interest. Now, I know what you're thinking. John, are you trying to tell me that the Pope is a real human being with interests and quirks just like the rest of us? And to that I say, you bet your sweet papal slippers I am. Because here's the thing, folks. Behind that serious demeanor and those exquisitely tailored robes beats the heart of a man who, despite his elevated position, hasn't forgotten what it means to be human. He laughs, he cries, he probably even gets hangry when the Vatican cafeteria is serving mystery meatloaf again. And that, my friends, is something worth paying attention to. Because in a world that often feels increasingly divided, maybe, just maybe, a Pope who can connect with people on a human level is exactly what we need. Chapter 4. A shepherd's vision navigating the challenges of a modern papacy. Now, being Pope isn't all about choosing the perfect hat for every occasion and enjoying the surprisingly delicious pasta carbonara made by the Vatican chefs. It's a job that comes with a lot of, shall we say, baggage. And Pope Leo XIV is stepping into the role at a time when the Catholic Church is facing some, let's just say, challenging times. We're talking about declining church attendance. It's a big deal, folks, and it's something that Pope Leo XIV has spoken about extensively even before he ascended to the papacy. And it's not just declining church attendance, folks. Pope Leo XIV is also inheriting a church grappling with calls for reform within the church. This is an issue that's close to the hearts of many Catholics, and it's something that Pope Leo XIV has shown a deep understanding of. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. These are complex issues with no easy answers, but what gives me a glimmer of hope, folks, is that Pope Leo XIV seems to be approaching these challenges with a refreshing blend of compassion, open-mindedness, a willingness to listen. He's not shying away from the tough conversations, and he's not afraid to challenge the status quo, and that, my friends, is something worth getting excited about. Because who knows, maybe, just maybe, this new era under Pope Leo XIV might bring about some much-needed change. Chapter 5. A world watching what's next for Pope Leo IV. So there you have it, folks. From humble beginnings to the highest office in the Catholic Church, Pope Leo XIV's journey is a testament to the unpredictable nature of, well, life itself. He's a man of deep faith, unwavering conviction, and a surprisingly good sense of humor, but most importantly, he seems to genuinely care about people, about making the world a more just and compassionate place. And honestly, in these uncertain times, that's a breath of fresh air. Now, I know what you're thinking, John. You've spent the last duration of video minutes telling us all about Pope Leo XIV. But where does he go from here? What's next for the Catholic Church under his leadership? And to that, I say buckle up, Buttercup, because things are about to get interesting. Will he be able to bridge the divides within the church and usher in an era of greater inclusivity? Will he use his platform to champion the causes closest to his heart, like mention some of his key values or concerns? Will he finally modernize the Vatican wardrobe and ditch those clunky papal shoes for a nice pair of Birkenstocks? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. The world will be watching, and who knows, maybe, just maybe, this new Pope, with his unexpected background and his vision for a more compassionate future, might just surprise us all. Tutor, a new chapter begins. So there you have it, the unlikely yet strangely compelling rise of Pope Leo XIV. From his humble beginnings to his steadfast dedication to the Church, he's certainly taken an interesting path to the papacy. He's facing a world grappling with complex issues and a church at a crossroads. But with his unique perspective, his commitment to dialogue and his, dare I say, surprisingly hip hobbies, Pope Leo XIV might just be the breath of fresh air the Catholic Church needs. The question is, will the world embrace this new era with open arms? Or will the weight of tradition prove too heavy a burden to bear? Only time will tell what the future holds for Pope Leo XVI and the billion souls he now leads.